for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. As always, we want to remind you the Shop Report, of course, is being brought to you by none other than the fine folks over at Rocket Digital Media. It's the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. You can look them up on Facebook at RDM Detroit, or you can slide on over to the website. That's rocketdigital.net. ROCKIT digital.net. And make sure when you're there, while you're there, you tell them the BSJ sent you. Well, I can't say joining me on the P program today is none other than my, co-host and such and so on and so forth. Not one of my co-hosts, Double J, as you all know, is right about now jet setting somewhere in the south of France. Stay safe, or should I say safe travels. And then my other co-host, Brother Rich, who should be joining us here shortly, was delayed by traffic. That LA traffic, if you ain't seen it or been a part of it, ain't nothing pretty. I'm here to tell you. Yeah, I'm giving him the button right now because he is not here. So as you all can see, it's Jay Solo today, or should I say De La Soul. It's just me, myself, and I. But we're not going to hesitate. We're going to get right into some of the day's action. Actually, this is a special edition of the Shop Report. We had a little bit of time on our hands that I didn't otherwise think I would have. Thank goodness, and I figured we'd get one in. So again, if not a Double J, but Brother Rich should be joining us shortly. So without further ado, did you all hear about the the Utah high school football coach who suspended his entire team? No? Let me tell you about it. Check this out. Union high school football coach Matt Labrum, no pun intended, Labrum, suspended his entire team after being alerted by a guidance counselor to the cyberbullying of a student by some of his players, in addition to, cutting classes and disrespecting teachers. Oh, hold on here 1 second. We got my man B. Rich. What's happening, man? What's happening? Okay, all right. Oh, okay.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can. I can hear you pretty good.
I'm having some mic problems now. I
Not
can
necessarily.
see, but
Yeah,
the
you can see
mic
me.
problem is the issue for me as I speak.
Oh, it's all good. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good.
All right, well, I'm here, but I'm trying to hear you because I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh, it's all good. Well, I mean, I'm glad you're here with us. The folks watching.
No, I need to hear you because I know you're talking about the Cowboys, so I need to hear what you have to say about the Cowboys. So perhaps the issue is on my end here.
That's all right. That's all right. We got time while you work it out. But in the meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and go home and get down to some of this nitty-gritty action that I spent all day writing the show notes for. Is that okay? Oh, you still can't hear me? All right, it's all good. Anyway, here's the thing about Mr. Labrum and suspending his entire team. Now, there's been a lot of backlash, if you would. Yep, I'm sure Brother Richard will join us here shortly again once he gets his audio issues worked out there. But I'm glad there's no freeze frame this go around. But here's the deal. There's been a lot of chatter to the negative. Now, we all seen the movie The Great Debaters, I'm sure. One side argues the affirmative and the other side argues the negative, right? I guess in some setting of balance. All right, it's all good. But it's been more negative than affirmative in regards to this story. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there saying, oh man, times have changed and he needs to not do that. Can you hear me now, Brother Rich? No?
I got you now, Jay.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah, because I don't know. The problem must have been on my end when I called back in. So.
Oh, it's all good, but you can hear me though.
I can hear
you.
Good
deal. Okay, good deal. Well, here's what I started off with today's show. With you familiar with the story about the Utah high school football coach who suspended his whole team? Okay. Well, I had just read, and I'll read it again now that you're here. And of course, you can hear me. The Union High School football coach, Matt Labrum, suspended his entire team after being alerted by a guidance counselor to the cyberbullying of a student by some of his players, in addition to players cutting classes and disrespecting teachers. And what I was getting ready to say is the cyberbullying and the disrespecting of teachers, that deserves some sort of consequence no matter what. You want to cut classes, that's on you. But let me say this, Brother Rich, before you weigh in, because I definitely want to get your thoughts. You being the community advisor and expert and whatnot. I learned the hard way once about making choices, because that's what life is all about, right? While we're here, making choices. I learned the hard way once about making the choices when I myself was the only person in that moment that choice was made. But then after the fact, found out that the choice I had made affected my grandparents. And, you know, I talk off camera, of course, I talk about how fond I was of my grandparents. Right. And it didn't dawn on me until that moment when they found out what I had done, that the decisions and choices that I make, even though they're not present, they are still affected by those said choices and decisions I make. So I have to be cognizant of that when I move the way I move. You get what I'm saying about the people I claim to have care about or whatnot. And I'm sure these young men, and we all have done things when we were young that was, you know, boneheaded, so to speak. So cutting classes, that would be somewhat of a boneheaded thing. But disrespecting teachers and the cyberbullying thing, no. What's right is right and what's wrong got to be addressed. Your take.
Well, I got to agree with you. And here is the thing. Today's society, remember, these are the issues that we're talking about. That society is going through some changes. We're making some readjustments about what we consider fair. Society is coming to some reckonings with herself. And one of the things that we're looking at is how we, quote unquote, deal with punishment with students in school. And so some psychologists say, you know, you shouldn't punish children. But nevertheless, we all know that there's something, or we should say this, there should be some things that when you go over this line, we know that in fact it warrants some kind of immediate repercussion to that behavior, because we're having an emergency alert here in California. So no matter
it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
But the thing is that no matter what, you're right, in that kind of circumstance, you would anticipate that there's some repercussion, because if the teachers are not safe in the classrooms, our schools are already underperforming. Now, if we have teachers that are coward in the classroom and they're afraid to perform their duties in the classroom because of bullying, and they are unable to respond in any way for fear of losing their livelihood, you got to deal with that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to be in a better environment than that. So when you pointed us to that story, I looked into it, and I absolutely agree with you. I think that you got to deal with that. You can't have it like that. That ain't going there.
And you know what? I've mentioned this a time or two before on the show as well, Brother Rich. There was a man who asked me one time, who kind of followed. I don't know if he still follows the show, but at one point he was following the show. And Eric, I don't know, would you call it arrogantly, but you know, he was being cynical is what he was doing. Yeah, what you doing for the community? I think I may have mentioned this a time or two before. But for those out there who didn't hear, who did hear, excuse me for being redundant, and for those who didn't, let me say, what are you doing for the community? I said, listen, man, the community starts at home.
Thanks.
And in this case, that's the whole deal right there. That's the nucleus of it all.
That is the community, Jay.
Yeah, thank you. It's
the community. The community is at your house. If you are able to manage your house and be respected at your house, and the neighbor is respected at his or her house, and your other neighbor across the same way. That's the community. That's ultimately what the community is made up of. But the problem in the community is that the neighbor across the street is teaching their child to hate your child based on the color.
Ah, good one.
We don't have community anymore. We have fratricidal conflict, brother against brother, man against man, sister against sister. And we don't have a community. Absolutely. So what you're talking about is a far-flung concept in the way the world is today.
Yeah, you mentioned lines. I'll say there used to be a line you didn't cross.
Right.
Now it seems like that line is gone.
Mike Tyson said it better, man. He said it for the whole world. That's why everyone agrees. People often quote him in this line when they say,
Who is this?
Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson
got you.
That social media has made people quite comfortable in a space where if you were with that individual in public, you wouldn't respond like that. Yeah?
Exactly. Yeah, home training is a lost art nowadays. You know what I mean? Then I can't say enough. You know, all young people I talk to, I'm not promoting mainstream. You know, I'm not promoting. And I heard Dame Dash say this once too. I don't know how relevant or this is to what we're talking about here, but it just seems to fit somehow, some way. He talked about the real estate in his head, you know, and not having time for people and the bull crap and stuff. You know, these are the types of things that we need to be teaching our children. He said, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't got no real estate to be on you. He said, because I got a line that I use amongst people. I say, when it comes to my time, I'll give you 5 minutes to have a conversation with me, and I'll know within them 5 minutes whether you're going to get 5 minutes more, because I don't have time for this. You know what I mean? But these types of things that were standard in our era, you know, it seems to always come back to that. They no longer exist anymore, you know. And I say again, and I get it, parenting nowadays is far more challenging than it was when we were growing up. I will say that. But I see a lot of parents so intent or hell-bent on giving their children the things that they didn't have, they fail to give them the things that they did, and that's discipline. And that's what you see lacking right now. And then everybody wants to ask the question, what's wrong with him and what's wrong with her? They just shooting and killing everybody, and they doing, yeah, okay, well, like I said, it's got to start at the house.
Well, remember now, Jay, I would give you, if I had control of the bells, I would give you a bell on that one, an applause ring on that.
Yes, indeed.
I want to support you by only saying this. Remember also, society intervened, what is called society intervened, government intervened in one element.
Yes.
Where parents were themselves in trouble for disciplining. And yes, sometimes that went too far, but parents themselves were put at risk for even attempting to discipline their children, because you just pick up
6,
the phone.
9, 6 kids.
Oh yeah, you already remember.
Okay, got you. Yeah, got
you. Many black and brown parents lost their children simply to the state and the system, simply for exercising any form of quote unquote discipline. And so you have a whole generation alive now that says all discipline breeds trauma. We don't need any form of discipline at all. So let children be children and let them make mistakes like humans make mistakes. Now, is there an argument to be made there? Certainly. But is there an argument to be made that there's no discipline? Absolutely not. You don't even get a dog and not give it perimeters in which to operate. Come on.
I mean, come on. I just wanted to mention to the 5 folks out there following us, we see you all. The numbers are popping up here. We appreciate y'all. Please bear with me with the glare from the glasses. If I don't wear them, I can't see this far in front of me. All right. So bear with me. But I'll tell you something else in addition to something else Coach Matt Labram said. And number one, as you all, if you haven't guessed by now, I'm all in favor of what he said and what he did. I'm kind of shocked by it because you don't see that nowadays in society. You know what I'm saying? It's always excuses made. Oh, well, he didn't really mean it or she didn't really mean it. No, I'm not buying that. He said players need to earn back the privilege. This is a case where privilege is a good deal. They need to earn back the privilege of playing football at the school through community service and better behavior off the field. What say you to that, Brother Rich?
I think that's absolutely fantastic. Because here's the thing now. Here's a coach teaching his students, because that's what they're supposed to be first and foremost.
First and foremost, teach them about life.
Absolutely. Here's the reason why he's able to do that. It's high school. There's more control at the high school level.
Got you.
He controls where they get college invites and who looks at them and what a college coach is told about them. Because in football in particular, there is no escape route. You have to go to college in order to get to the NFL. So there's the measure of control that college football coaches. So it's wonderful to see a college football coach developing young men beyond the football field and saying there are elements of life that we need to look at here and see our behavior, how our behavior on the field perhaps is contributing, or our behavior off the field is contributing to our behavior on the field. So let's take a look at what we're doing off the field and pretty much reassess what we're doing. You got to love and applaud that. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will applaud that. I mean, because isn't the mantra, you know, in America especially, the whole idea is to be productive members of society.
Right.
Well, that was anti-productive as it get, if you ask me. So again, I applaud the coach I wish I could get him on the show, and I will try actually. But I applaud the coach for doing something again that we don't see quite often in this day and age. All right, moving right along. You watch the Olympics. You like that? That's a nice little button right there. You know what I'm saying?
These are
Did you
times
like
I
that?
miss Double J. I miss Double J these days. These are times I miss Double J.
Yeah. Okay. Got you. Yeah, this is times that you miss Double J. Save it. Absolutely not. He's out jet setting in the south of France. Don't
He
bother.
certainly is doing that. He certainly
Don't bother
is
the
doing
man. Yeah, we saw the Olympics or some portions and pieces of the Olympics.
Yes, we
But
did.
here's a story from the Olympics that is not really making the rounds as I thought it might. And I came across it. I've seen it a few times here in my Facebook timeline, but not enough as you would, of course, the whole who's the GOAT argument. That's so oversaturated. It's become so cliche at this point. But I said, hey, let me pick this out here and discuss it with my cat's brother Rich and well, I thought again, Double J. Something that really, really we talk about what's rare in today's society. Do you know who Maria Magdalena is?
I am forced to know who she is because my brother and my friend Barbershop Jay sent me the information to study her, and I was pleased to read about this wonderful young lady. Yes.
I'm surprised. No, what? No Dallas Cowboy? No Dallas Cowboy reference on that one?
Me. That's in the we got that in the holster. We hold.
Okay, got you. You waiting on your partner in crime.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, okay, I get you. You know what I'm saying?
No, for this show, we got that in the holster. Trust me.
Okay, got you. Okay, that's for Sunday. Yeah, got you. Yeah, the one half of the Corsican brothers is down, baby. Black Hawk down. Not soon after the Tokyo Olympics had concluded, Polish javelin thrower Maria Magdalena auctioned off her silver medal to help pay for an infant's, and if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Milosek Malsa, pay for his heart surgery. And get this. There's a Polish convenience store, a Polish convenience store chain, Zabka, that's spelled Zabka, placed the top bid for this medal at $125,000. They won the bid, of course. But instead of collecting said medal, they announced Maria could keep the prize. Does it get more noble than that, Brother Rich?
No, and again, here's an Olympic athlete using that Olympic stage for what ultimately the Olympics professes to be about. Humanity, the oneness of humanity, celebrating the best in the human spirit, celebrating achievement. This young lady achieved, and here's what she wants to do with her achievement. She wants to turn around and give the achievement towards contributing a young man's heart surgery. I mean, when you talk about, can it get more noble than that? Absolutely. The question becomes this: why don't we have? Here's the question with that. Not just beautiful, wonderful young lady and whatever she propelled her. Obviously, she has some kind of faith, some kind of human dignity and spirit that makes her do that for another human being, a young man that's suffering, that's in need. The question becomes: A, let's look at two questions. A, what kind of world do we live in where a little child would have to pay for that? Number one. B, what kind of world do we live in? What kind of world do we live in where you got professional soccer players? I'm gonna start with soccer. Soccer players, basketball players, baseball players, singers who are making multi-million dollars a year. But here's a professional athlete in the sense of an Olympic athlete who are not well-paid athletes who give.
Yes.
And so this is true, what you would call true Christian love. And if you look at this young woman, if you examine this young lady, she perhaps comes from a Christian background, some religious background that allows her to see beyond the material wealth of this world and says, look, I'm going to use my fame. I'm going to use my fortune. I'm going to help somebody. I'm going to practice the charity in the highest form, in the highest sense. And we can all applaud her doing that. All of us can applaud that.
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned material. I think I've read this before, and I'll read it again, though, because it seems to be apropos here. Money and material is only worth what the greed of the world has attached to it. You agree with that?
Absolute fact.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of
it's paper with some people's faces printed on it, and it has the power of it continues to decline every day. The money that we had in our pocket this morning is worth less at the end of today than it was this morning, and it'll be worth less tomorrow morning. And then by the end of the day tomorrow, it'll be worth even less than it is then. So we're fighting and killing each other over declining
something that has no value.
No real value. This human being got value. We got to really talk about what really has value. That's why when we talked about the athletes who wanted to go back to their neighborhood and play with the young people, and they didn't care about their contracts or if they got hurt, and they wanted they knew that had more value in it than what this some white man or some boss man or says my contract is worth. And so they understood the value proposition was more that they were among some young men who had no hope, and he is a superstar athlete among them, playing with them just like one of the fellas from the neighborhood, never forgetting where they come from. That's the kind of thing we talk about and we should encourage. That's what this young woman did. She didn't forget where she came from. She looked back and saw somebody else that perhaps needed a hand. And she did that, as they say in the world. Sometimes they use the language paying it forward. She did that.
Yeah. Are you suggesting then that real value, quote unquote, does not have a price?
Absolutely. It's invaluable. Can't put a price on it.
Yeah. And then why do you think
Kobe comes to mind?
Say that again.
Kobe comes to mind.
Oh, absolutely.
God rest his beautiful soul.
Yes. Yeah, we can barely see the picture in the background. Usually you show us the landscape. But I mean you being tight right now, cheap right now today, honey. You only get a portion. You know what I'm saying? Then, man, I'll be glad when Double J come back. I really will. You know what I mean? So y'all can, link up. Wonder Tumor Powers, activate. Oh man, I hit the wrong button.
Yeah, that was for yourself. So,
yeah, I hit the wrong button. But on a side note, when you talk about the value of money, though, in this country, or as it's deemed in this country, where do you see? You saying it's devaluing each day as we go forward. So where do you see it? Maybe money or whatnot, and its value 10 years from now, maybe.
The American dollar won't be here 10 years from now. That's not me saying that. That's all noted economists of, and I'm not an economist by any stretch of the imagination. That's the least of the fields that I'm knowledgeable of and in and toward. Nevertheless, I've been around and read and know enough of them who continue to say that with all of America's, remember now, we are the leading debtor nation, and here's a real thing. A real thing. You can go to any port city in this country and see trailers of tractor trailers being unloaded, being loaded up, with all kind of goods coming in from China, with all these cargo ships and container ships bringing material goods over from China. We're buying everything. We're not making anything. We're not sending anything anywhere. There are no more jobs in Ohio like they used to be in terms of the steel mill. That's has closed down. That closed down even from when I was there with the time I was there with you all. You talking about the car industry is going away. All these kind of things. Manufacturing has gone away from the country. Then the government continues to write more and more and more debt while not doing anything to increase and better the condition of the human being. The American people are not any better for having spent billions and trillions, give banks trillions of dollars, the military industrial complex trillions of dollars. That's unsustainable. So everyone who studies this, anyone who studies this, that is honest, tells you that here's a country that continues to print her money into non-existence, that you cannot keep printing money, backing it with nothing, and then just continue to do that cycle after cycle before you run into something where you just got a pile of printed paper, and it's pretty much like tissue paper.
Yeah, and they're gonna start using it to stuff pillows.
Yes.
So what are you? And excuse us for the side note right here, but this is what we do. This is how we do it at the shop. You know what I'm saying? You know, one conversation turns into
another. We talk about everything in the shop.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Come on, and we talk about everything.
That's what we do. At least at today's Cutting Style. Shout out to today's
Cutting
Style. Taylor. That's exactly how it was. Would you tell them be rich? That's how we got down. But so are you suggesting then that we become more service oriented? When you mentioned manufacturing, we're more service oriented.
The industry is service oriented. Look at the jobs. Look at the major people who are hiring. You got gig workers is where people take it, delivering food, delivering groceries, giving a ride share, working at this place, or gig working. These are the things that are running the economy because we are now a service industry. We're a country. We're not. Where can you tell somebody in truth, go and get a job making anything in America? What do we make? We don't make shoes. We don't make any. Where do we make anything? You were born and raised in Ohio. That used to be a manufacturing state. What has happened to you? What happened to Youngstown? What happened to what happened to
Lordstown?
What happened to those places? What happened to Detroit? What happened to the surrounding areas? What happened to Flint? What happened to those places? Manufacturing moved out. Where did they go? They went to Mexico, then they went to this place, then they went to that place. Now they're all in China, getting pretty much slave labor, paying people pittances, but that's raising their lifestyle and their standard of living, even with the pittances. And they took all that out of Detroit, took it all out of Philadelphia, took it out of Pittsburgh, took it out of Cleveland, Ohio, and here you got now black holes in terms of those places. What's going on in Cleveland now? The medical industry. If you're not in the medical industry, if you're not involved in something in the medical industry, where are you working at in Cleveland? You're not going to get a job at the plant anymore.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I got to give you the button. Yeah, for once, when even though Double J in here, I can't even argue with y'all. This is not fun, man. What's going on, man? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
You don't know how hard that is for you.
Okay, it really is.
It's very hard for them. The people who listen know that it's that they know that's easy for you. That's hard.
Yeah.
The ones who don't know how hard that is for you.
Yeah, they do know. Absolutely not. Yeah. So back to Mrs. Magdalena and her nobility, humanitarian, and all those other adjectives you would want to use to describe what she did and who she is, even though we don't know her. But I mean, you don't have to know her to know that once upon a time that used to be a standard. You know what I'm saying? So, but why are we not hearing about her on the major networks?
Well, because our society don't want to see. That's a genuine, uncontrolled charity. It was not distillated for the camera. She didn't do it because her sponsor told her, here's an opportunity. That's why I said if we examine this young woman, we'll find out that she is some kind of God-fearing, believing, something propels her to have a vision like that. Something has inspired her to view the world like that. So Nike can't take that as a photo op, Adidas or Puma or whoever she might be with. So that's why we're not going to see that on the major television networks. We're not going to see that on the nightly news. Perhaps somewhere down the line, someone will make a page 255 bottom page chapter, a little story, a feel-good, if you will, story of it. But it'll be good. The moment will be gone by then. But they don't want to inspire other athletes now to do that kind of selfless and just uncontrolled charity, if you will. Shaq is known for just going into places and being spontaneously charitable. And people, he doesn't do it for the camera, but people who have often gotten pictures of him doing this or video of him doing this. But
that's Shaq.
It's Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal is known for doing it. But he's one of the rare individuals. And I'm not saying that they're not. Many athletes, many athletes are very charitable.
Yes.
We look at the conditions of the community they come from, and we wonder sometimes, wait a minute, why are you putting a basketball court in this community as opposed to the one where you were born and raised in? Why does the basketball court around where you grew up still look like it did when you grew up? Back there and tell us, this is the court I grew up on. If you're taking us to other neighborhood and showing us the new court you just built for them over there.
Yeah, the neighborhood that really don't need the court. Okay. Yeah, that's always been a long has always drawn my ire, if you would. Yeah. But so in other words, the bottom line is we got to get back to humanity.
Facts.
Okay. Yeah. And showcasing stories and such. So shout out again to Maria Magdalena, the Olympian silver medalist who, I mean, when I read the story again, man, I was just like, wow. I just sat there looking at it for a minute because, I mean, we do. Yes, for sure. She get another applause. You know, and to your point, we got to lend credence to all of those people who do charitable things without being seen or saying, here, look at me, or for likes and so on and so forth, because they are out there. But I just thought that this story and this young lady, not even knowing this young, but if I'm not mistaken, she's a cancer survivor. You know what I mean? So she has survived some sort of ailment or whatnot. Yeah. So, you know, it's one thing to sympathize, something totally different to empathize. Yes. You get what I'm saying? And when she heard this little boy's story, man, she didn't hesitate. You get what I'm trying to, and then kudos.
Applaud her for that.
Yes, for sure. And kudos to the people who won the bid, you know what I mean? And for saying, you know, just keep your medal. You know what I mean? That's just, I mean, come on, man. We talking about paying it forward and giving back and all that kind of stuff, man. Again, you can't put a price on that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that we definitely need to get back to. All right, good stuff, Brother Rick. And last but not least, you like that. I know you like that. Double J like it too. He's sitting over here emailing me or texting me or whatever you want to call it. We're going to get in our NFC. This is one of the divisions for our ongoing coverage of the NFL's upcoming season and our divisional previews. I figured why not add this one to the mix? You know what I mean? Seeing how yes. Okay, okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh, dog pound. Yeah. Oh man, Anthony Walker got hurt, man. He tore his biceps.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But again, I'm not. I mean, I was.
But you know what? We deep in these streets. Dog pound is deep in these streets.
Oh my gosh.
We deep in these streets.
You live in a gated community, man. What are you talking about? We deep in these streets. We deep in these streets. Yeah. Okay.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Okay. You sound like Eminem right now. 8 Mile. No. Yeah. It's all good. But today's divisional preview is, of course, the NFC South. So, I mean, I'm asking the question that a lot of people are asking or has not yet to be asked. Will Tom Brady and the Bucs run it back?
Run it back. Without a doubt. Run it back. Run it back.
Well, he did take less money so that, you know.
Run it back. What's missing on their squad? What's missing? They have a full AB is back with they're back in stride. They've only added. They got the same exact unit, and they've had more time together. And Brady is, without a doubt, still the most prolific at what he does. That remains in the game today. The young man in Kansas City is coming for him, but right now, in terms of being the old general, the old boss on the block, you gotta nod your hat to Mr. Brady and say, "Yes, sir, you're still here. We respect what you're doing." And so it's impossible to deny the Super Bowl champion. And I know you're not getting ready with all your cowboy madness. You're not getting ready to tell the people that are listening to this, wherever they may be, all over the world. You're not going to tell them that they're going to play their state back, and you're going to tell us that Brady is not the truth. Tell us that.
No, remember now about what, 165 shows ago? Because we probably got that many, if not more, in the books, you know what I mean, or in the cachet. Right. We asked a question when he was still with the Patriots. Was it Brady or the system? So what you're saying is it's Brady and not the system.
Brady.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
Brady
I don't.
Brady is Brady, Kobe, Jordan, they make the system. They are the system. That's why.
Man, you can't. Did you say that out loud?
I said it out loud.
Say that on that?
That's why I said it out loud. That's why Mike could say in his language when Tex Winter said to him, "Mike, there is no I in team." He said, "But there is one in win." Is it? There is one. And then Kobe's response to that was when they told him. Jack told him, there is no I in team. He said, but there is an M-E in that.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, oh my goodness.
When people are the system, they are. When it breaks down and it all goes bad, you rely. Remember, you told us one of your greatest, check the tape, listeners. One of your greatest stories on this program was a quarterback being in the huddle, and they're talking about where they're going to eat. You remember you talking about that?
Oh, okay.
Remind the listeners, you told us about the fact that they're saying, don't worry about that. What we going to eat out of this? Where we at? Don't worry about that. We got this. You see?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me give you the button again. Okay. Because obviously your memory is better than mine. And I mean, I'm on record. I'll be the first one. I'm on record. My memory at times, that's why I'm grateful that we can still be able to do this. This is why I need y'all's help, you and Double J, you know, the Corsican brothers, because sometimes mine be slipping like the transmission on the 68 Buick that's been sitting in the garage for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm willing to tell that truth about myself. I don't disagree with you in the Bucks running it back or whatnot, because they have, like you said, the parts you pointed out, what are they lacking in? And I can't think of anything right now at this moment. So barring injury, you know, of course, they might be the team to beat. And not necessarily because they're the Super Bowl champions, but let's again point out, they're the first team to not only win the Super Bowl, but do so in their own home stadium. You know what I mean? So if Brady ain't got nothing else, he got that. You get what I'm trying to say?
Barring injury, we expect to see them somewhere at the end of this. Let's be realistic. They're still in Tampa. Beautiful city, good weather, team is happy, players are happy, they just won the chip, good chemistry among everybody. Then we can't look at them and say, here's a sore spot, because all of that was closed up when they had the slow start. They fixed whatever the problem was, got their chemistry together. Now they've had they won the chip, had a whole offseason together, barring injury. If we're not expecting to see this team here, what are we saying about what they've done last? Was that a fluke? No,
absolutely not. No.
Coming from New England and leaving that team and starting all over and going through COVID and going through all of that and then coming out the way they did. You can't say that's a fluke at all.
Right. And I would love to add, or like to add, and my apologies, I'm gonna preface that before I get into what I'm gonna say here. To the Packers fans out there, shout out to the Packers fans. I know a couple of them. They love the Packers fans. But when you talk about the Bucks, man, it was them linebackers. Yeah. I mean, for all of Aaron Rodgers' accolades and his greatness, first ballot Hall of Famer, all of that other stuff, his record in NFC championships is paltry. Okay. So for all of y'all out there who wanted to hurry up and trade him for Baker Mayfield, you know, again, y'all just so caught up on the names. And I'm not saying he ain't what everybody claimed him to be, but in them moments where I need you to be what all them accolades say that you are, you know, it pales in comparison. And let me point out again, the Bucks gave the Packers back the ball 3 times. Can you all see that? 3 times in that NFC championship. 3 times. So don't blame Brady. I mean, and who turned the ball over? Brady turned the ball over at least once or twice. I think, you know what I mean? Mr. Tom Brady himself gave it back to Mr. Aaron Rodgers, who, as some, you know, noted mainstream talk hosts will say, he's a bad man. And the bad man came up smelling bad, like the funnel cake. Like, you know how to tell you, the powdered sugar on a pile of dog stuff, and it looked like a funnel cake. You can't convince me, baby. It's flies on it. Yeah, absolutely not. Did the Panthers make a mistake bringing in Sam Darnold and trading Teddy Bridgewater, you think? I do.
The Panthers made a mistake when they got rid of Cam Newton and everything.
Wow. You think so?
Oh, without a doubt. And everything they've done since that point has been a mistake, and they continue to make mistakes, and they will continue to make mistakes because they are a mid-level franchise trying to do mid-level moves by making money-saving moves, and it's not helping them. It's not helping them. They're going for these mid-level pros and hoping that will make them a contender, if you will. And that's the kind of move that they're making. And they believe that Cam was past his prime. He certainly is, but he certainly could have seen them through till they got the next quarterback of the future while they built a better team and gave him better players around him. But they refused to do that. So now what we see with them is a total collapse, system failure. We don't worry about them. They won't be there.
Yeah, and I'm here to say this too. This is not gay. This ain't no black or white thing. So I've had some people shoot me comments here on my phone, whatnot, talking about, yeah, here you go with that, the racism stuff. Look, cut it out. I'm saying Teddy Bridgewater was a better quarterback in the NFL, has been a better quarterback in the NFL than Sam Darnold. I know Sam Darnold ain't been there as long, but I'm telling you, I didn't see nothing from Sam Darnold in college, to tell you the truth. Just like I did, what's the guy that Hugh Jackson, when he was here in Cleveland, told us to be, trust me on it, Cody Kessler. And all the other the quarterbacks that didn't came through on the carousel here in Cleveland. I do like Baker, though. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, I was going to say, how is it racism when we like Baker and you're in love with the quarterback of the Rams for some reason? You think he's the savior of the Rams. We think it's another story at the store.
What I'm saying to you is, that's what we're doing now. So we done went from Dallas to Matt Stafford.
Well, no. I didn't. I just said that. I didn't say the Rams. I said Matt Stafford. I didn't even say his name. I left his name out. I said the quarterback of the Rams. I just said you happen to ride for the quarterback of the Rams. I'm looking out for you because anybody that would charge you with being quote unquote involved in some racist element of your choices here is not needs to be aware.
Learned enough.
You ride hard for Matt Stafford. You ride.
Okay, got you.
And you ride for the whitest franchise in football, the Dallas Cowboys. We're not even get to that, but you ride for them with a whip. So we know what it is. Right? Anybody thinking that you're not listening?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it's interesting that you would be going.
He ride for the Cowboys like
yeah. Interesting that you would sit here and try to lambaste Matt Stafford without trying to really lambaste the Rams, but you got season tickets to SoFi Stadium. You know what I'm saying? Upper deck. I'm sorry, lower deck behind the bullpen.
No crowd. No crowd. So those days go.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, them San Diego Padres, they coming for them LA Dodgers. I see
let them keep coming. We're here.
Okay.
Yeah. Waiting for them.
Yeah. Ohtani, he might,
I'm real Ohtani. But guess what? Don't be surprised if Ohtani end up the road a little bit. Just a few.
Oh man.
I'm
cut
just
it out, man. Oh my God.
Don't be surprised if Ohtani end up the road a little bit, a couple miles up the road in a few days.
Yeah, y'all do that out there in LA. Y'all stack the deck.
Well.
Oh, absolutely. Oh no.
Modern day Yankees. Modern day Yankees is on the pop. They're beating the Major League Baseball at their own game. No salary cap, partner. You just go for it.
Oh, and you know what? That's interesting. You should say salary cap because when we have Mr. Rick Curti, co-founder, CEO of the Charlotte Bats, the team grassroots effort to bring Major League Baseball to Charlotte. Shout out to Mr. Rick Curti. We're going to be discussing that right there. Yes,
very nice city.
Yes, we will be discussing that. Let me ask you about the Atlanta Falcons. I know there's a time to you own about what? How many restaurants down there? 6 Waffle Houses and 3 Whataburgers. I'm just trying to say.
Don't listen.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? My
I'm glad you're laughing at your own jokes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely not. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most philanthropy of philanthropy that I know. This guy right here, my cat brother Rich, you know what I'm saying? He's down there building schools and everything, you know what I'm saying? Bridge walls, break walls, and all that other good stuff.
Yeah,
it's Kyle Pitts. You know, Kyle Pitts is the highly touted tight end from Florida. Is that enough because Atlanta could have had Justin Fields? Is that enough to resurrect Matt Ryan's career?
Atlanta is, and unfortunately, they're the modern day Buffalo Bills. And here's what I mean by that.
What?
Here's what I mean.
Oh, you better be glad. Oh, no.
Here's what I mean by that. Here's what I mean by that. Here's a team that history will show blew their best shot. They got there and they blew it. And that's it. They won't be back. It's over for them. All of you birdies and Falcons people, it's a wrap. It's not going to happen. They're not. And by the time they even begin to sniff another chance at this, it's not going to happen. It's going to be it's an exciting fan base. All the fans down there have something to root for finally because football is what it is. But in terms of the performance of the team, Mike Vick is not walking through that door.
Oh, you was wrong for that. Well, we know that. Dang, you don't give the Falcons a chance at all. So Matt Ryan is going out an unsung hero or so.
Let me tell you something. There is a chance. There's still a chance because I'm still alive that I can make the NBA. So there's a chance.
Okay.
It's not very realistic, but there is a chance because I'm still alive. So something might happen.
Okay.
One day they might say, "Hey, we're gonna put this 70-year-old. We're gonna try a 70-year-old in the league." So there's still a chance, right?
Okay. Yeah.
The Falcons have a chance.
Okay. It don't sound like it sound like
Not a realistic chance.
a slim. Oh, not a realistic one. You was dead wrong for that. I give you that. That sound like some big.
Hey, let me give you something. I hate to say this, but in the NFC, that team that you root for, that ugly team out there, the most overrated team, they're gonna do more damage than that team you just mentioned.
Oh wow! So one team going 3-13, the other one going 4. That time we get 4 and 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, gotcha. Yeah, dead wrong. You are absolutely not. It's been long since said, or you've long since said, that the city or the state of Louisiana or New Orleans in general is not really a place where a lot of high-profile athletes would like to go and play. It's not really, other than Mardi Gras or whatnot.
Absolutely
I've never been there, so I couldn't really tell you what all the happenings are. But you said it's not really a place that, after the fact, like, where can you go? What can you do? So let me ask you this then. When it comes to the Saints, Drew Brees is gone. Is this the beginning of the end for Sean Payton and them New Orleans Saints? Because I just honestly, no disrespect to Jameis or Taysom, but they're a big drop off from Drew Brees. And I think the Saints might have to bring somebody in, man. Because I don't.
No, they definitely got to bring somebody in, no doubt about that. And here's what happens with a team like that. I don't think this is the end for Sean Payton at the beginning of the end. Here's why. I think that he has such a good grace there in the city among the fan base because of what they've done over the last several years, that he has grace extended to him for several years to come, and which will give them enough time. So really what we're looking at with them, let's be honest, these are stopgap measures. Jameis or whomever they bring in is a stopgap measure until either they're bad enough to draft high or make the right deal and get somebody into that spot. So I think that's absolutely what's happening. Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Last but not least, there were some questions prior to him being able to pull it off. Now, we all know the ball sometimes has to bounce the right way and such. When the Bucs and Tom Brady won the Super Bowl last year, what would you say if for some strange reason, because you've been talking to Patrick Mahomes too, Mr.
Without
Jordan in cleats on the NFL and that whole
Jordan in cleats. Michael Jordan. I'm gonna say it again on this show. That's Michael Jordan in cleats. Go ahead.
Well, I don't argue that. I just would like to know which team you're rooting for. The Pittsburgh, Kansas City Brown Chiefs. Anywho, what would you make of it if the Bucs and the Patriots ended up in this year's Super Bowl? That would be it. Tom Brady, if he ain't all ready to go, that happens, and he beat Bill Belichick, it's a wrap.
I think that from a marketing perspective, it would be good, but from a football perspective, it would be terrible. He would crush them. Mac Jones, Cam Newton against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and that squad they have down there. No, I don't see that as a good matchup. Now, when the Super Bowl that takes place this year, the Bucs and the Browns takes place. Now you're talking about
what? There you go again.
You heard it here first. When the Browns make it to the Super Bowl and they play the Bucs, now that's the Super Bowl that America wants to see. You see, we want to see that kind of Super Bowl. See, the underdog, Brady's last Super Bowl, perhaps he's going out in glory, and here's the young up and coming franchise, a team. Yeah, because it's going to take a team to dethrone Brady. And what better team than that team where you are? The dog. The dog pound can do that? If I said the Cowboys was going all the way to glory, you'd be jumping up and down, playing all the buttons you got. I'm jazz trio.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Hey, listen, you're talking to you did you forget? I'm Mr. Municipal Stadium himself. Yeah. You understand? I remember Ice Cube McNeil.
Tell the listeners that's the stadium that got torn down. That you never forgave before. Tell the listeners that you're still angry right now because they never won for your grandfather, and we know you love your grandfather, and you're still punishing the Browns. That's why you talk so terrible about them, and you decided to go be friendly with the
No,
most terrible, overrated franchise in the history of sports. The
no,
Dallas
absolutely not.
Cowboys.
This is outlandish talk. See, you started off so eloquent, man. Your soliloquies and all of that. Now it's just flies on. I can't say that on. We on national television right now. I can't use them type of verbiage. It just no. Hey, listen. I'm yes, okay. So Municipal Stadium is a reef right now. I get it, but it's also the home of Autogram.
Thanks.
Jim Brown.
Right.
That's how we got down. Yeah, Paul Brown,
Right.
Dante Lavelli, Webster Slaughter, Bernie Kosar,
Rex you're telling the listeners you're good at history. You read a lot of boys. You know you're smart. We all know you read a lot of books. You don't mean you're necessarily a fan. You're just a very smart young man. But we knew that already coming into this. So we're talking about today's team, though. With Dog Pound today, modern day Dog Pound. That the one that the listeners can check the tape that you dog at every moment and lift the Cowboys at every moment and the Pittsburgh Steelers. What kind of name is the Steelers? They stole every damn thing they got. Okay. A team like the Steelers and leave the Browns alone. Come on. Man.
Yeah.
Root for the underdog for a change.
I am rooting for the underdog. I'm rooting for the Browns to win, man.
Oh,
what are you saying? I'm just saying, you know, yeah.
The bandwagon's kind of full right now. We don't have time for you. You can come on next season when we Super Bowl champions and y'all all want to get on. You see?
Oh, got you.
Okay, you can sit back there in the caboose with Stephen A. Smith.
So disrespectful. I repeat, so disrespectful. So let me tell you let me ask you then, what would be a better storyline? The Browns and the Bucks in the Super Bowl.
Browns and the Bucks.
Browns never having been to one. Their first time, the city's history. Like I just said, all of that. You know what I'm saying?
The Browns and anybody. The Browns are the story. I'm here to tell us all. The Browns are the story.
So that would be a bigger story. That would be a bigger story than Tom Brady against Bill Belichick?
Without a doubt. Here's why. Here's why you're hearing that. Because Bill Belichick, the Patriots don't have enough talent to stack up against. They're the chances of them getting there.
Right,
and if they were to get there, it would be such a stretch that by the time they got there, Tom Brady, if he got there with what he has with him right now, he would absolutely destroy that team. You're talking again. We're talking about Belichick.
So you have a grudge.
Yes,
a personal grudge.
Yeah, you're talking about a team in rebuild mode. They're not even sure about their quarterback. We're not even sure about what's going to happen with them. Who's playing what position there? Where is Edelman? Where's the new Gronk? Where are all these named pieces that they were able to put together? Let's see now. And ultimately, who's throwing that football? Who's going to be at the helm?
So are we not giving Belichick credit for none of the success that the Patriots had?
No, absolutely. We are giving him credit for being able to sit on the sideline and give that young man the room to operate in his talent field. That was his wisdom. He let him operate. And he constrained some of his gifts, but he let him use what he had, his arsenal. And Tom Brady's intelligence was on display. His patience was on display. His discipline was on display. His willingness to submit himself to his craft has been on display, and it's still on display. And it doesn't depend. And he's showing us that's what he did. We can't deny what this man did. He took a team that was the laughing stock of the NFL 2 years ago and took them all the way. We just talked about Jameis. Jameis had that talent with him. He's out in New Orleans trying to reclaim his glory. He had that talent. He did nothing with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know this.
Brady, who everybody said is washed up and he's too old and you can't play football in the NFL at 45.
Yeah, and too many people count him out. I'll say two things before we get out of here, and this is good stuff, Brother Rich. Double J, I hope you was watching and listening. If not, man, we'll see you next Sunday. The story about Joe Montana being in the huddle. I got a Sports Illustrated from years and years ago. Jesse Sapolu, if I'm pronouncing that name right, was an offensive lineman. And in that Super Bowl, that game-winning drive, I think it was the one we hit with John Taylor.
Okay.
They had to go, I think, 85 yards or whatever to score, you know, and that was really like, well, he had already done it in the championship, the NFC championship. No, that was 81 with Dwight Clark, my bad. But that year, Sapolu said when they got in the huddle, after I guess Bill Walsh called a timeout, they got in the huddle, he said we were all worried, like we weren't going, because the Bengals were tough. They were a formidable foe that year. He said, man, Joe had got done talking to Bill because all the other players were already out on the field, waiting on him to come to the huddle to get him to play or whatever. He said, man, when Joe came to the huddle, they was like, dang, Joe, a couple of guys, I'm talking about some Hall of Fame, not Hall of Fame. I don't know if they Hall of Fame, but a few of the offensive linemen, Guy McIntyre, I think he was on that team. They were like, heck, Joe, like, what we going to do? He was like, listen here, man, which one of y'all buying dinner? You know what I'm saying? Which one of y'all is buying dinner? You know what I mean? And I see that in Tom Brady lightweight. You know what I mean? Like, look here, man.
That's Jordan. That's Kobe. That's Brady.
Yeah.
That's that genre of. That's that level where you don't worry about them. You know what it is. They have supreme confidence in that moment that they know exactly. They've done this enough. They've worked on this enough. They are prepared to execute the plan in this particular moment. This is what they've done it for. And so this is the kind of person we're talking about here with Brady. This is the kind of commitment to excellence we see in a player like a Joe Montana, a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan, and certainly the young man in Kansas City. This is who we're talking about.
Yeah, and then the last thing, again, it's about Joe Montana. I got another Sports Illustrated where all of the conversation was about Joe is old. He ain't got it no more. Dan Marino. This is when the Dolphins played the 49ers. Excuse me. Oh, they were killing Joe Montana now. Marino's the young gun. He's the new get, and this he gonna be. And now Marino was as good as advertised. That to me still, that 1983 quarterback NFL draft class with quarterbacks is still one of the, if not the best since in my lifetime. So we all know what Marino was, right? And Joe Montana was like, oh, seriously? Almost like you said about Michael Jordan, when none of the Chicago writers picked him, to beat the Cavs that year. The Cavs had swept the Bulls 6 straight in regular season. This one was in the Central Division, whatever it is. And he's like, oh, that's how you know what I'm saying? I took that personal. And Joe Montana took it personal. And we all know the end story. That Super Bowl, I can't remember which one it was, but I remember the final score. It was 38-16. And Marino never got back to one. So we all know how that turned out. Brother Rich, once again, I appreciate you for showing up for me. Babe, it's all good. Double J. Cloudy with a side of meatballs. And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out right here back once again on the StreamYard Network, or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, vlogcasts, as well as the shop's Facebook fan page and our website, theshopreport.com. And if that don't work, Google it. For my mans B Rich, Double J, and all those who follow and support us, we say thank you. I'm Barbershop Jay, and you've been listening to The Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla.